Hi everyone, today I am colouring this page from Enchanted Forest. You can see I've made a start on some of the background and leaves and things, and I'm about to do this tree trunk here, and I thought it might be useful for me to show you what I'm doing with this. Tree trunks, I know, can be a bit tricky for some people, so I thought we'd have a go with this one. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see better. There we go. I'll try and get it into the middle of the page a little bit more. Okay, and we're just probably going to just do a little bit of it. Now, I'm going to use browns. With tree trunks, you can just sort of ignore what Johanna's drawn on here and just go for a plainish brown, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use Johanna's guidance because I think we can get a nice look to it from that. Now all my browns, I'm going to be using Polychromos. I'm sorry, I'm just reaching over to my pencils. You can see my arm in shot. I'll show you all my browns. They are all really little ickle browns, so you'll have to forgive me because I'll be looking up the names because I can't see them very well on the pencils. I've got my chart in front of me, so hopefully it won't be too tricky. Now I think I'm going to start, where the leaves overlap, it's a little bit complex, so I'm just going to ignore that and probably just do this bit here. So starting here, I'm just going to grab a brown, and this is the 176, which is the Dyke Brown, and start with this one. Now I'm going to sharpen it a little bit. I'm just going to grab, I've just used my Staedtler Noris club sharpener. I find they work fine for Polychromos as long as the blade isn't getting too blunt. And as I say, I'm going to start here, and I'm going to start with this bit. But what I'm thinking is the edge of the tree here, this bit here is going to be darker than the centre of the tree, because the tree isn't flat, it's rounded. You can imagine a tree is a circle. So there's going to, if we make it darker on the outside and then lighter towards the centre of the tree, it gives us the impression that it's a more rounded tree. We won't see that with just this small piece that I'm doing here, but as we sort of progress through, hopefully we'll get that impression, but we can also enhance it if it needs to be. So there's that bit. I'm zooming a bit more for you. There we go. You can see better now. There. So I've done a much darker, lots of layers of colour here and less here. So I really want to emphasise that this is darker. So I'm going to probably reuse this brown. I'm not going to use all the browns that I've grabbed out, it's too many. I'm trying to have a more limited colour palette on this particular page. I'm going to grab this one next. This is Bistre, believe me, you can just see the very end of the word, whoops, and I'm going to drop it. And I'm going to do this piece here, and I'm going to follow the same technique. So actually I'm just going to do a light layer first. So I'm going to darken it up on this side, and then lighten it towards there. You can see I'm just going over the layers, but I want to make sure that it looks as smooth as I can as well. So there's that one. Now I think I'm going to grab one more, lighter or darker. I'm going to go for probably, I like this one, but I can't see. It is, look at how small that one is. It is, this is the Nougat. Okay, I'm going to sharpen it. I think it's about time I started grabbing out my new browns. I think I've got replacement browns for most of these. So, and we're going to do this piece here. So we're going to use the same principle by pressing harder here and reducing, just checking you can see it's all in shot. Now don't just reduce it all the way to here, because this bit is going to be darker than this bit as well. So I'm going to head to this bit next, making sure that bit is darker than this bit, but this bit needs to be darker than the centre. It might be quite subtle. Sometimes I find it easier to fill the whole section with some colour like this first, and then I can have a look and think, where am I going to add that extra in? So I definitely want to go over this bit and this bit with more layers. There we go. I think that's a little bit pale, so I'm just going to go over it as well. Although it's okay to have some paper showing through, I want to, there we go. Now I'm going to go back to the original browns now. I'm not going to grab any different ones, so we're going to go back to this one, which I think was the Van Dyke Brown, and do this section here. Now I just wanted to talk to you as well about the pencils and paper and things like that. Now, although I'm using Polychromos pencils here, which I usefully didn't tell you, you can use any, you know, any pencils, any shades. You know, just grab 3 different shades or more. You don't have to just stick at 3. I've decided to stick at 3. Just because I don't want too many different colours on this particular page. It's just a decision that I've made. You can have more. Now here, we don't want to lighten it all the way to here because the centre of the tree isn't that line there. So I'm trying to guess where's the middle. It's probably about here. So we need this part to be darker as well. Particularly down here in this corner, that's the furthest away bit. And then lighten it up towards the centre. So slowly draw the colour in from both sides so that we can get quite an evenish line, hopefully. Now, paper-wise, this is a 2015 version of Enchanted Forest, and so the paper in it is very different to that. I'm trying to straighten that up because this is a curve. We want that line to be straight. So I'm trying to straighten it up a little bit in the way that I'm colouring. So the paper is going to be a little bit different. Now when I say different, I mean I'm talking really about the tooth of the paper. Now for those of you that aren't sure about tooth or paper, let's just grab a piece of paper, has a surface like this, and as you put your colour down it slowly slinks down into that there, which is the tooth. Do you see? So if it's flat like this, I put my colour down, sorry it's gone blurred, I put my colour down it, and once I've done a layer there's no room for any more. But if there's tooth, I put a bit of colour here, I can then add more and more and more and more. So that makes quite a difference to how your pencils work on the particular page. I'm going back to my Bistre on this one, and now we've got this central point, we need to carry it through. So I'm going to make a darker bit here and lighten towards the centre. So what I'm saying about the tooth is that this will determine how many layers you will need to put on your page with regards to getting the right sort of effect that you want, how dark you want your that's not quite in line, is it? That's how dark you want it all and how many layers you're going to have to put down, and that will also vary depending on the brand of pencil you're using. I'm just going to get my rubber because I'm not happy with that. Now that's quite straight, it's here, so I'm just going to rub a line there so I can get it straight. Still wonky, isn't it? Anyways, and your pencils will determine that too, because I think it's okay actually, because some of them go down a lot harder than others on the paper. Some of them have more pigment, so you don't have to press that hard, and we don't want that white, and you still and you get a lot of colour down. Now for me, for the pencils that I've tried, I find that things like Ergosoft and Polychromos are fairly hard, and so they take quite a lot of layers to get colour down, lots of colour down. And things like, I'm going to grab this one, which I think was our Nougat, wasn't it? And I'm going to do, I'm going to tip my camera so you can see the next bit. It doesn't want to work. Whoop. Okay. push the page a bit. And things like Prismacolor lay down colour really a lot of pigment quite quickly. Now, although that's great if you've get sore hands and things like that and want really vibrant pictures, but if you like building up gentle layers, then a harder pencil is better. And also if you want something softer somehow. So you see there, all I've done is I've been able to do a harder amount, more pencil, I mean here, and less towards the middle. And I'm going to use this colour also on this side here and do the same thing. So lots of layers of colour on the edge and then less towards the middle. You might wonder about the background here. I did. It's not perfect, it needs a bit of work, but I'm quite pleased with how it's looking at the minute. I actually did that with Derwent Lightfast pencils. They're very pigmented, so they lay down fairly quickly, which makes them easier for a background. I do find I had to sharpen them quite a lot of times, but I think I would have done for any pencil because there's lots of intricate details in this background, and I do find yellow quite hard to work with. I find that in certain lights you think, oh, it's all covered, the whole background's done, brilliant, and then you look at it again. Just deciding on my next colour, sorry, I'm going to go for the Van Dyke Brown for this bit here. This is a bit of a trickier shape, definitely starting off darker here and then lightening it off, but we need to think about where that centre is. Anyway, yellow I find quite tricky because you think you've done it and then you get really close, and perhaps this is just me, I don't know. I get really close, look at it really closely and put my head nearly on the page and I can see all the white paper showing through, and it's because I think it's because it's quite a close colour to white in a way. I find, and it reflects the light in the same way that white does. I find it quite difficult to see whether I've got full coverage, and I'm talking to you now looking at it and I can see spaces, not that are in shot, but other spaces that probably need a bit more, a few more coats of yellow on, but I can fiddle around with that at some point. So here I'm just trying to emphasize that stripe down the middle of the tree. Now you can't see much more and I can't move my camera back, I have to zoom out instead so you can see the bit below. Now let's see, well maybe we'll just do these few sections and you can see how the tree is beginning to take shape a little bit. What's that one? We'll use the lighter colour, the Bistre, on this piece. So it's quite similar to this bit up here. So pressing quite hard and putting lots of layers here and then reducing that. As I say, the pressure you need will depend on your pencils and your paper. So it's just a matter of fiddling around until it works for you. And that's the thing I think with people who have lots and lots of different sets of pencils, it takes a lot of getting used to. Now I'm not really used to my Derwent Lightfast and I've had them 10 months. I don't use them loads, I have to say. I'm very used to my Ergosoft and I've had those for 6-7 years. So that's quite a long time. Inside there I want the darkest. So the Van Dyke Brown in here. There's no real pattern to what I'm choosing with regards to colour. I'm just doing it so none of the colours are next to each other. But I might end up having to put them next to each other anyway. Depends on quite on how the pattern works out. But I'll just show you. Anyway, so it's all the same. It's just darker and then lighter. This bit is going to be a little bit tricky because that line will cut through it a little bit. I think that'll be okay. I'm going to, now look, I've got that colour, which I did, I think I'm going to do it again. So this is the Van Dyke Brown, I'm going to do that one there. Now if you have more colours, then you have less chance of having the same one twice, but I think it doesn't matter too much if you get a couple next to each other anyway. So here we go. As you can see, I'm putting less colour towards that middle part where this is sort of going to go through there. And last is this piece, and I'm going to do the Bistre in here. Now I'm going to ignore this stripe because it's too much detail for me. So I'm going to start with a light layer all over so I can see where I'm at and think about where this is going. It's going through there, so I need darker here to about there, and then a bit of darker down here. Not much here though. There we go. So if you look, the line going down here looks like it's a bit of a shine. The tree looks a bit more rounded, and I'll just show you a little trick with this is the dark sepia, which is a browny grey. Now what you can do, I'm not going to do it now, is you can use a little bit of this on the edge and it can make it look even darker. In fact, I will do it. So just a tad all the way up. Watch out for Mr. Mouse's feet. I'm not putting it on that dark. I just want it to sort of emphasize the edge of the tree. If you look at trees, you see that there are more shadowy on those edges. There we go. And you can pull that in towards the centre and darken up all of your rest of your colour if you want to. But that's something I would normally do at the end once I finish the whole tree. But I just thought I'd show you a little bit of how. Now if you think your centre isn't light enough, you can do what I was doing and use a little eraser. This is a Tombow Mono Zero. It's a lovely little teeny eraser, and you can always use a rubber like this, which is a Staedtler, and you can cut a little slice off with a knife, and then you've got a little piece you could use to rub, or you could even just sort of cut that to a point and do it. If you're confident, you could do it with the big fat piece. I don't know, but make sure your rubber's clean. Look, I've got blue on there. I wouldn't want to be rubbing that on there and smudging blue onto my page. It's dropping rubbings and I'm not even using it. Anyway, that's me. That's that. I hope that's useful to you. I will eventually post this finished picture of this tree on my Instagram page, so you'll be able to have a look. And actually, I'll do a flip through of this book when I've finished it. I'm getting fairly close, probably a few weeks, I'm hoping. So then you'll be able to see it there as well. But yeah, I'll pop it on Instagram and you'll be able to have a look at it once it's done. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed it. Do remember to subscribe if you want to get reminders of when my videos come out. Thank you very much and happy colouring.